Hi guys, Kid of Mischief here, and today I'm going to bring you a tutorial on how I made these horns and this tail. And this tail can also be worn down or up. So let's get started. We'll start with the horns. I bought some Sculpy clay, that's OvenBake clay, you can use whichever kind you like, and a headband. I like to roll it into a ball and then slowly just turn one side into a point. You can either keep your horns super pointy or you can do a little curve. I like a little curve with my horns, but just mold it into the shape that you want. I also used only half of that little bar, so each half is a horn. Once you like the shape, try it onto the headband and start on the next one. Do the same thing with the next one and constantly make sure that it matches the original. Hold them side by side, next to each other. Next, follow the instructions on your clay on how to bake them. You could even do the air dry clay if you want, but I prefer the oven bake. So now that mine are all done cooking, I'm figuring out where I want them on the headband. Make sure that you try it on your head as you do this so you don't make it too high up or too low, and also so that you make them even. I like to, if you can see the little pin I put there, once I hold it on top of my head, I put a pin at the top of where the horn goes so I can make sure I glue it in the right spot. And there you go. You can leave it like that, or you can paint over the horns and make it a little more glossy. Now next is the tail. I ended up taking some butcher paper and making a pattern of the general shape that I wanted. I then bought some of the Yaya foam dowels, and this part would be better if you had a Dremel, but it was super late at night and I didn't want to make too much noise, so I just cut the shape and sanded it down. So you kind of want to make almost a point with like a flat edge. And then you're just going to heat up the foam and then start shaping it into the shape that you want. This might take a couple of tries because the foam is so thick that it's not always just going to stay exactly how you want it. So what I did was I did the whole entire thing at once and then slowly just worked on small areas and made it more bendy in those areas. And there we go. So next I took some other foam scraps that I've had around and I made the point of the tail. Since this foam wasn't exactly thick enough, I ended up taking two pieces and cutting them the same exact shape and gluing them together. After that, I kind of smoothed over the cracks with my hot glue. And then this next part is also easier with the Dremel, but again, it was late at night. So I just used this to heat up the edges and I just smoothed them out so they're not so pointy. Now since I didn't use a Dremel, I did have some little wobbly parts, so I took some spackle and rubbed it in, sanded it down, and made it even. If you have a Dremel, you can pretty much skip this step. Next I took some gesso or gesso. I hear it pronounced both ways. I'm pretty sure it's gesso, and I painted the foam pieces. So then it's easier to see the red, because when you paint on top of black, it doesn't come out that well. Next, I took some copper wire and I shoved it into the little triangle, because that's going to be what connects it to the main tail. I made a hole, and then I took the copper out, and then I glued it and then put it in. Same thing with the tail, make the hole, and then glue it and put it in. The type of hot glue I use, by the way, is Gorilla Hot Glue, so it's a lot more sturdier than just regular hot glue. Same thing, filling in the spots with some hot glue and smoothing it out. Next, I put a little piece of copper wire on the edge so that I can hang it while I paint it. Now here you can see me using some Plaid FX paint, and I decided to go in and put it on my horns just so they match the tail, and I actually ended up giving it a pretty nice shine, to be honest. Now I'm working on the tail. I had actually done one layer of spray paint outside. That's also why it lost its shape. It's over 100 degrees Fahrenheit where I live. It's about 120, so it kind of unmolded itself, so I had to reheat it and mold it back in. But luckily that paint is meant to be bendy. It's foam cosplay paint. Now this part is how I attach the tail to the person. I took a rectangular piece of foam, and then in the middle I jabbed a hole and then created little spikes, so then it looks kind of cool when you put the tail up. I made sure to put a bunch of hot glue so it'll stay in place. And then I had a piece of foam the exact same size that goes on the back, because between them you're going to sandwich a belt or piece of leather, a tie, however you want to attach your tail. I made these since I didn't have any extra belts laying around, and I glued the foam at the top and the bottom so it gives the belts still room to shift, and I glued them together. You can technically just glue the belt exactly where you need it to be on the tail, between the foam, but because this was a commission, I decided to make it adjustable. And there you have it. Cute horns and a cute tail. And also I made some angel wings, so subscribe to this channel and you'll see these in a couple of months once the person that commissioned them is out and using them. Alright, thank you guys. I hope you enjoy, and thank you my patron supporters for, helping make this easier on me. And yeah, hope this helps you guys, and see you later. Bye.